Everybody, right here live back in the mix with your host on KQBHLP in Los Angeles, California on 101.5 FM, a community service of the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory, broadcasting live and streaming on KQBHLA.com. And guys, I'm back for another Sunday edition of LA Lifestyle with your host PvP, back here once again, coming to you live. Me and my brother Cyanide out here, providing you with answers, solutions, insight on the LA community and what LA Lifestyle's been up to. And, you know, tonight's going to be an interesting episode. We're not going to say too much off the bat. It's going to be a fun episode with an announcement at the end. We're going to stir things up a little bit. We're going to rattle up some spines, some backbones, whatever you want to call it. Just don't call me late for dinner. But once again, on PvP. And tonight, this is a special episode because this was one of our original partners in all this, one of our original sponsors, one of our original believers, one of our original everything, even before I even knew it. And I thought I was talking to him, but I was talking to his cousin Jason. Shout out Jason.
Shout out Jason.
Shout out Jason, always. But guys, you already just heard his voice. Without further ado, we'll get him introduced. Right now, this is my guy, my dog, the other half of Hippie Fest, these amazing shows that you have come out to that I've been able to curate for you. Without further ado, the one, the only, from Hippie, the sponsor, the Hippie Fest co-founder, goes by the name of Kooya. And we're going to let him introduce himself and welcome, man, to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course, man. This is, I've been trying to get you on this show for at least 6 months now, but, you know, with the way things are going, you know, it's appropriate now. It's finally appropriate. But how me and maybe we'll dive into, you know, because people, a lot of the times we've been on some shows together. We went on the B-Side show, shout out B-Side. You know, people have been asking us a lot of questions like, how did we end up like linking together? How did we meet together? How did we do everything together? And other than that, yeah, so just to kind of catch everybody up here, 2022, right? It was that first Season Fest?
Yeah, 2022. It was a Season Fest at the Doll's Hut.
This was the first annual Season Fest. I was opening up for Casey Veggies. We had a lethal session set out there. We had Mercutio X and Garrig out there, Tino, Stax, Champagne Aramis, Ray Guns, Danny Boy too. I'm pretty sure Danny Boy was out there. We had the Batch Records team out there, and they just dropped a new album too. Make sure you check that out. Shout out to Prophecy and Danny Boy. Y'all doing your thing. But I ended up opening up, you know, and you had a booth, right? You had a booth at the first Season Fest?
Yeah, both Season Fests I had a booth. But yeah, the first one I had the booth. It was right outside at the outside stage. Yes,
and so I remember, I think we had a small interaction. I know we talked, but I had my whole, who I was with. I performed. I kept throughout the night. I left not early, mid-festival. I had to get back. But then next year, the tables turned where I was the host of one of the stages. And I was, you know, things kind of, you know, sped up a little bit. And they're like, oh, wasn't this the guy that opened up the show? Now he's out here hosting the stage, you know? And me and him, I started talking to Jason. Shout out Jason. And then the contact just stayed there. And you know, we started hitting each other up on social media a little bit more. We were looking for show sponsors, and when you see the Hippie Ha 310 in the bio, that this is the man. This is one of our first product and brand sponsorships. This is one of our first kind of like LA lifestyle believers in terms of like putting that much faith into the show. And from there, me and him, we then decided, hey, let's make a show. Let's do a little hip-hop festival. So we also have Hippie Fest 2. We have an event that I will be attending on November 2nd. And you can come see all of us down there, down in downtown LA, down there 926 East 11th Street, right?
Yeah, East 11th Street.
Yeah, so come on, check it out. I'll be present. It's going to be a great event. And we're looking forward to it. Some great artists coming out. We got Michael from Dallas, Texas. Got Pat Ron coming out. And you know, that was just kind of just a quick little introduction on how me and Kooya came to meeting, but also what invited me into who he was as a person. Is he's an artist, and he's a a writer here in LA. As I've learned, one of my favorite things I keep telling him, like, all city, we're going all city.
Yeah, going all city.
I just be messing with him all the time because I'd be like, he's one of the first people I've been able to like drive down a freeway with and be like, how y'all get up on these billboards? How y'all doing this? And it's just really interesting because like the amount of passion you guys as writers, that's how you identify.
Yeah, I identify as a writer.
In this modern world, because we all have titles and stuff like that. So fill us in, Kooya, a little bit about writing in LA, how you got inspired, maybe a couple of your favorite writers. But what was your first dive into, I guess, writing in LA? What caught your eye?
Yeah, what got me into writing was I'm from the Harbor area. I'm from the HA, and there's a lot of writers out there, a lot of crews, and like even before I actually started writing, I was always, in class, not paying attention, doing some tags on the desk or some paper, but then I was like, man, I want to do this, and then I have cousins who wrote, so they're like, here's a streaker. That's how you hit tags.
And for the listeners that don't know, what is a streaker?
So a streaker, it's like a paint pen.
Yeah.
It's a paint pen, and like when you go walk around anywhere in LA, anywhere probably in the country, when you see tags hit up, it's probably a streaker.
Yeah. It's just a common art tool or writing tool that you'll see with most writers.
Yeah, most writers. You got like streakers. Some people like to use drippers, but
and I see too now with social media, people are getting creative and they're like, oh, make this kind of pen with me, and they'll kind of like DIY some stuff. But like the streaker is where that kind of like came from, I guess.
Yeah, the streakers, like a crazy thing I said on Instagram with the streakers, like now people, before you had to cut your own streakers to put multiple colors, but there's like companies selling it now.
Yeah,
which is dope,
like anything,
make your money.
Yeah, it's revolutionary. But then I know with writing and the culture, like I'm new here down in Los Angeles, and I've always been an artist my whole life. But I always knew, like, the Bay has a good writing culture, but even like then, I didn't understand it enough to where, like, I don't think I'm with the right people yet to even try to respect this culture. Because even with writing, it's a very political thing too. Like there's a lot of like substance and like passion that goes into being a writer. And to continue on here with your story, you said with your streaker, when was the first time you went out and used a streaker pen? How old were you?
I want to say somewhere in middle school, probably like sixth, 7th grade.
And what did you hit, like your bathroom?
What it was just after school, trying to be cool in front of my peers and my homies. Like,
you're like, yeah,
broad
hit
day.
that.
Yeah, broad day. Just I'm gonna hit my name real quick. Yeah.
And how good was when you were writing? Like, how much as an artist have you transitioned from your original writing techniques to what you now apply just on your sketches or just when your everyday art?
I would say I developed a lot. Like, I try to experiment with a bunch of different styles. But like I feel now I found what I like to do. Like I used to try to do all those wild style, crazy stuff where you can't really tell what it says. But now I'm like really big into just straight letter. Not too crazy. You can read it, but like the feel's good. You got a burner. Hand control's clean.
Yeah, and typically like when you, I guess when you make your graph or your tag or your write or your symbol or however you identify it as, what's like your typical, like how many colors? Like, is it like a standard thing? Or are there people that get all wild and weird with it and they got like 8, 9 different colors going on there? Yeah. Like, I kind of see a lot of different tags like all throughout LA. And I see some people like just like a 3-color combo, or they'll have some like, wild, like, I'm like, how they be doing that?
I think it just depends on like how you get your paint and what colors you have available. But something that I was always taught from, my OG that showed me this graph game, shout out Coffer. He was like, man, if it doesn't look good with black and white, salt and pepper, then you don't need to be messing with colors. So I start, like, even to this day, I still use mostly black and white, and then I'll put a burn around it, which is a different color. But like, I want my letters to stand out. I don't want it to be colors, and it's not no disrespect to people who use color, like a lot of different colors, but
So that's kind of
It's
just
salt
like
and
a,
pepper,
that
bro.
that's like a salt and pepper.
Yeah, salt and pepper.
It's like if you can't over.
He likes his writing like I like my tats.
There you go.
Black
Okay,
and gray
for
with a
sure.
pop of color.
Yeah. So it's almost like you can't over or under season, like, and if you're doing that, like, you shouldn't be cooking food.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. Okay, I
I'm
get
not.
that.
I'm not gonna hide my letters with all these colors. Like,
Yeah, with this seasoning.
yeah, like
Not
you're
gonna-
gonna see my letters with black and white, and it's gonna be banging.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you want to add some pop to it and some flavor, you can. You
Yeah.
know?
Sustenance, not seasoning.
Oh, hey, cyanide. He's out here. Are you a writer? Good. He's a writer. He went worldwide. No.
I write with metal.
Oh, he's a welder, so I mean, you better watch out. But guys, so with I guess okay, we'll dive into more of the art sense of it. But one question I do have is what is the craziest or the craziest write you've done? Like
craziest piece.
yeah, but just even in terms and think of it like not like the piece itself when you look at it like wow, that's straight everything bang and popping. Like to get there, how like what was the craziest night just to get the slap on the wall?
Man, so I was still a teenager, but this story is like we went to not too far from here. We were in Boyle Heights. It was a train yard. I was with my boy Cossack and Coffer. Shout out Cossack. We were there. We find a wall. We're getting down. And then the homie Cossack looks. He's like, hey, I think that's a light. I think that's the worker coming. Look, man, that's not a worker. Like, we're good. There's probably someone else with a light. We keep going. Nah, that's a truck with the light. We look. They shine the light on us. They put on the siren. And we're like, oh, we just did. We're split up. I'm with Cossack, right? We're trying to get over this big wall. We cannot get over. So we just throw our bags. Make a long story short, Cossack gives me a boost, and he does some Ninja Warrior stuff to get over. We did. We're safe. We're like, all right, you know what? Let's just go back. They're not going to be back at the spot. So after we jump the fence, we go back. We're like, we don't know where Coffer is. We go back to the spot. We're painting again. Coffer comes back. He's tore up. Clothes are ripped. Like, and we're like, where'd you go? He's like, dog, I ran to the freeway. I was hopping over barbed wire. He's like, I went back to the car. You guys weren't there, so I just came back here, and you guys are here painting. But it was crazy, man.
So the homie was like trying to get back, like, oh, let's get this, like, let's get out of here. And then y'all like, let's go back and write. Like, let's go back and write.
Yeah,
Like,
because
that's
we're like,
crazy.
we were like, man, let's finish the spot. Cause like, I barely put up my I didn't do no fill or anything. I was like, I want to finish that, bro. Went back, finished it, and then yeah, we were good.
Wow. So for that, like, how old were you when you did that? You said you were still a teenager.
Yeah, I was like an older teen at the time. I don't know the exact age, but that was like the first time like had to dip out.
And like, how loose is that? Like LAPD?
Yeah, it's either LAPD or like transit police.
So like when it comes down to like I guess law enforcement here in the city, because I mean I've seen like my friends just do stuff and the cops drive by. I've seen people get messed with. Like, does it really matter where you're at when it comes to riding here in LA?
Like what do you mean?
Like when it comes to like in terms of like the consequences like are getting caught. Because I know now like you got the guys, going and hitting that obviously our famous downtown buildings that took over the news a few months ago.
Yeah.
And then now there's the new mansions up in Hollywood that are getting slapped up. Like what really happens like when you get caught up, or does it matter where you're at? Like Hollywood, I get it. There's probably like some something that can happen from that. But where are the places where graffiti is seen as like a free art?
I don't think really anywhere it's a free art, but I think that's what makes graffiti. Like graffiti is art, but it's vandalism at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
There are spots in like Massachusetts that they call them free walls.
Yeah, there's free walls, but like we don't look at that like it's not graffiti,
Yeah.
Because you don't have to go through that like hopping the fence or like going through like the trial and tribulation
Yeah.
to get the art up
Like
on the
it's
wall.
art. Like I would say like that stuff, like the free walls or the people who do murals, like it's dope, but that's street art. It's not graffiti. Like graffiti is the vandalism part of it.
Yeah.
Like you're risking felonies, you know.
Yeah. And with that, like, what kind of, you got trespassing, you got, like, I mean, you probably, going through some areas that are federally restricted or, like, something like that. Like, is there ever a time where, like, I mean, as a writer, you obviously have to have that I don't give a you-know-what attitude, but have you ever, like, been like, what am I doing?
Yeah, I've got caught once or twice, but man, like in your head, just like, what am I doing? Like, it's going all bad. But it's like it's a passion, bro. It's an art. It's vandalism and art, but it's like hard to stop. Like you get an itch for it.
Yeah, it's just like anything. Like, why does a crackhead wake up and hustle for crack? Right? I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's just like it's all an urge. It's all what people want. It's all a fight for something. But at the end of the day, too, like, I feel like I see a lot of graph writers in LA that are so happy.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, I know a couple that are very secluded and very introverted. Like, you don't see, like, if you see them out, you're like, oh, hey, what's up? I'm seeing you in a public setting right now.
Yeah.
And I know that it's an honor to see them. And, so it's like, I see so much joy and happiness in this medium. Because to me, writing is a medium to me. That's how I 100% view it. Because like I had mentioned at the beginning of the show, and if you're just joining us too, we are on KQBHLP in Los Angeles, California on 101.5, a community service of the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory, broadcasting live and streaming on KQBHLA.com. And we are here with my guest Kooya, the founder of the Hippie brand, and also my other half of the Hippie Fest. We out here live.
Yes, sir.
Kicking it. We got my brother Cyanide in the building. Made it here on time. It's our, no, we'll save that. I almost spilled the beans before the beans were even cracked open and cooked. I just blew LA Zero out. Sorry, everybody. But back on here, aside from being, when you were writing and doing everything, you also now are a proud business owner.
Yes, sir.
And you have the Hippie brand, which is also a sponsor of the show. So guys, make sure you go cop a t-shirt. Go cop some merch. Don't make me say other things.
Yeah.
I'll hit you up in your DM. No. But if you want to talk a little bit about how you transitioned from a writer to, I know you just hit a 5-year anniversary with the Hippie brand.
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah. You got the new 5-year drop. He did some exclusive drops at the last Hippie Fest. And do you have any other merch coming out for the next show, or are you still bringing that 5-year anniversary drop to the next Hippie Fest?
Yeah, I'm still gonna do the 5-year anniversary drop this next Hippie Fest, but you might just have to stay tuned. It might be a secret drop.
You never know. You never know. So what made you be like, man, I've been writing, I've been doing this. Well, what made you say, I'm gonna mess around and go get some blanks and put my brand on a shirt?
Yeah. So, like, man, there's a bunch of artists who transition into making shirts, and like that was something I wanted to do. I saw other people do it, and I was like, I want to do that too, and so I started Hippie. So what some people may not know is Hippie stands for Harbor Individual Pimp, Pursuing Intellectual Enlightenment.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know with a lot of writing crews, every time, especially you and me are driving around too, you're always like, oh, that's the homie this. Oh, that's da-da-da-da. I always was like, why are they just doing these analogies, or why are they just picking like a few letters? And every single slap you see or write on the wall, it stands for something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly like you said, like, yeah, hippie, like, no, I'm not like, yeah, we hippies, but it means more than.
Yeah, it means more than hippie. Yeah.
Exactly, so that's the thing too, which is cool. You want to say that one more time for the audience?
Yeah, so hippie is Harbor Individual Pimp, Pursuing Intellectual Enlightenment.
And that right there is a positive message within itself, because I mean, a group of kids who grew up being writers trying to make it out of an area and trying to be someone, which we're all trying to do.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, so I wanted to make the brand, and so that hippie, the original font that's on there, that font has been on like my school binders since high school. And then so my first drop ever was just the hippie, and then the bandit logo on the back. And then from there, I dropped that, started selling some shirts, and then I was like, you know what, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. Like, it's something I'm passionate about. I want to continue to do, make shirts. And then started making different designs, different shirts, and then dropping them, going different. I started going to graffiti events. That's like where I would do my pop-up. So.
And then with that, I remember you had mentioned too, when we went out on B-side, you said you had gone to a Black Books and Rhymes event.
Yeah, shout out Black Book Rhyme Books, but they were like one of the first, like when I first started them, they were like one of the first people to let me join their, their dope events and for me to set up a booth. It was them, and then the art compound, which is Atlas Graffiti. He gives a lot of opportunity to like writers and people in the community, and like I was a teenager at the time, just going there, setting up, and it was cool. I got the opportunity.
And Black Books, they just had an event right down the street here from the station last weekend. They had the homie Gmo out there. My homie Madrano went out there too because he had pulled up over at the Righteous Fest afterwards. But yo, shout out to Black Books and Rhymes, y'all. Y'all keeping it real. Y'all for the underground. Y'all for the culture. Holding it down right there. But continue on with your story.
Yeah, so I would start going to those events, and then later on, I just started making more designs, different shirts. I like to do pop-ups. Like, I'm not too... Like, internet is cool to, like, sell your stuff, but I like to be there in person. I like to meet the people who are, like, actually gonna wear the clothes, you know what I mean? And actually buy my product. So I like to go to the pop-ups, and then from there, I went to different pop-ups. Shout out Humorous. I was doing his pop-ups a lot, the Paint the City. And then from there, like, started doing the rap shows, like the underground rap shows, and that's how I met you and like.
Yeah, that was. I mean, yeah,
artists,
that's how you met all of us. You met me, Mark, Gary, because that first one we did, Lethal Session, was one of almost the main headliners, like right before KC Veggies. And also too, man, you can check that out too on the Hot 16's YouTube page on one of our other shows. I have the whole entire performance up on YouTube.
Hey, that performance was tight. That was like my intro to Lethal Session.
Yeah, and all of us, bro. That
all
was.
Of y'all, but,
that was.
I still got the CD they handed out that day.
Yeah, the free CD.
Yeah.
Yep, the free Lethal Session CDs, and they're still out there. Garrick will always bring a stack of CDs. Man, shout out Garrick Diffin, man.
Yeah.
I swear that kid, he's been there since the beginning, really, with me, like one of the first rappers that I got to really work with, and it's just crazy to see both of our progress, and I'm proud of him, man. He's out here, he's dropped like 5-6 full-length albums, like he's doing shows, he's got the residency at Outlaws. You even went out, shout out to you, you went, we had planned it, but it was, we had some stuff happen during the tax season, but you went out all the way out there to San Luis Obispo, stayed the night, y'all went fishing, and y'all went and pulled up at the show, and to this day, he's like, man, I can't believe he drove all the way out here and vlogged the show. I'm like, we mess with you, bro. Like, no one just does that for no reason. Like, and from that, bro, what did you, like, see and learn on that trip, really, with music and what we do? Like, you had that feel and, like, the representation of what we do down here with our underground, but then when you went and got to see those same dynamics applied in San Luis Obispo, I mean, there's really nothing around slow.
Yeah.
You go 5 miles south, it's just open rolling hills, and you go 5 miles north and like Santa Maria or Santa Maria's south. But anyhow, it's just like there's not much out there. You got Cal Poly. Yeah. But what did that do for you as, say, even like an underground hip hop band?
I just thought it was cool, to support the whole underground culture, go somewhere else that I'm not from. So from LA area. So when we went up there, it was cool to cause I already knew Gary was a fan of his music, but going up there, we discovered other artists who were tight, and it was just it was cool to see their get down up there in the 805 area, cause the whole 805 area has some dope MCs, dope artists.
Did you see any writing up in the 805 while you were up there?
Not where we were at specifically, but after that we went to Oxnard and Ventura. I think that's still 805, but we saw some stuff over there, but nothing in the little town we were at, and then the bar.
Atascadero is where y'all were
Atascadero.
Yeah,
but I think we stayed in Pismo Beach.
Yeah, Pismo's nice.
Yeah, that spot was beautiful.
Crazy, 25 years ago, that whole left side of the freeway was just undeveloped.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Pismo's got like, I mean, like, you can't really ride motorcycles and dune buggies like you once used to, but I mean, Pismo kind of caught the money bug. It was always had that, you know, kind of nice luxury
Yeah.
vacation side to it, but yeah, it's definitely not going to be like it was, like, you know, that Pismo I remember going when I was a little kid, you know, like going out
Okay.
to the dunes, and you know, everyone's
Yeah.
got the trailers and the big diesel trucks out, and everyone's just ripping the sand dunes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like Pismo Beach, and it still had that old like 50s feel to it. I don't
Yeah.
know, something about that town. But guys, we're gonna take a little break here, and we're just gonna get back into some music here. We're gonna get back on that Juicy J and Xavier Wolf, that Memphis Zoo, coming at you live out here on 101.5 FM. Community Services, Boyle Heights Conservatory, broadcasting live on your FM dial and streaming on kkbhla.com. And this right here is The Truth by Juicy J and Xavier.